What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room YouTube channel. And we have some very breaking news for you, some exclusive news that Nat Phillips is going to become a Bournemouth player. Now, this is according to multiple transfer room sources. He is currently having his medical right now. So he will be announced as an AFC Bournemouth player very, very shortly. James, I'll start off with you, mate. We'll start off. It's only you.
Start
here,
off, it's just me.
We'll start. What's your immediate reaction to the transfer, James?
Do you know what? Bournemouth, they're pushing up to get up, aren't they? I think they're in third in the championship at the moment. They've got a really good squad, and I think, Gary Cahill's their main centre-back, isn't he? So a Nat Phillips, Gary Cahill partnership, it almost does feel Premier League ready. Someone for Nat to learn off in the last few years. I can see why this makes sense.
100%. And I think he's, to be honest, James, I'm pretty surprised that he's going to the Championship because I think he's a Premier League level centre-back. He proved it last season with Liverpool, but what are your thoughts? Do you think he could have potentially gone higher?
This is the thing. What do you want to do as a player? Do you want to join a fight, which is what obviously Nat Phillips is really good at, or do you want to join a success story where you can build the momentum and really have a good push? Do you want to be joining Brentford now? Or do you want to be joining Brentford in January last year when they had the big push and had the big celebration and all got promoted? I don't know whether it's a loan or a permanent move.
It's a loan move. It's a loan move with a fee.
So if it's a loan move, then it's the part to be, it's a good to be part of something positive, isn't it? As opposed to fighting for your life. So, yeah, I quite like it. I think it makes sense to just take a step back, get involved in what is in essence a more physical league and play to your strengths. Play with someone that can develop you further and knows how to be a top Premier League centre-back. Yeah. And then get into the Premier League with them and stay in the Premier League and build your rep.
I mean, I'm just having a look at Bournemouth's squad options in the centre-back area. You've obviously got Gary Cahill, very experienced. You've got Leif Davis on loan from Leeds. You've got Chris Mepham, Welsh international. Lloyd Kelly can play there, but he's more of a fullback. So I assume that it would be Phillips and Cahill as the first choice, and he will get minutes. I mean, James, he's played, I think, 90 minutes in total over 2 appearances for Liverpool this season. 135 minutes, including 90 minutes against AC Milan. He needs to go out and get football for Liverpool to be able to get resale value, surely.
If we were just playing resale value, yes, without a doubt. It's getting involved in a promotion push, bringing a club up, playing the minutes. It'll all look good and it'll increase his resale value. But is it really what we need? Do we need an extra couple of mil? Probably, but yeah, I like no one scoring a corner against Bournemouth. You've got Gary Cahill, you've got Nat Phillips, and then Philip Billing, who's like 6'7", isn't he?
Dom Solanke is a big lad as well.
Dom Solanke, you are not scoring a corner against them.
I mean, to be fair, they're getting Liverpool have a good relationship with Bournemouth anyway because of the amount of money that they've given us for randomers like Brad Smith 6 million, Jordan Ibe 15 million, Solanke 20 million. I mean, guys, get in the comments what your thoughts. I am told, this is LFC Transfer Room sources, that Nat Phillips will sign for Bournemouth today. It is all but confirmed. He just needs the medical and the announcement will happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll have big egg on my face, but I'm very, very certain that this team is it's the one that Nat Phillips is in. I mean, mate,
if Neco's going there as well, because there's rumours Neco's going there, isn't there?
Yeah, I've heard that, but apparently Bournemouth aren't as interested as Liverpool are of moving him on. So it's a weird one. Apparently Liverpool are the main players in that one, which is a strange one for me because why would we want to let go of our backup fullback unless there's a replacement coming in?
True, but Gomez can play there, can't he?
He can, I suppose. And Milner.
Bit of a long throw specialist gives him a bit more minutes. But no, this really does make sense to me, and I think about the Championship, and it's a match every 2 weeks, and the speed and pressure that they're on. What about Bournemouth are on 52 points, Blackburn in second on 53 points, and Fulham are walking away with it 58 points. I think they've won 5 in a row. So what do? You secure your defence a little bit. You have a little bit more defensive cover. Solanke's having a great season for them. He was always the potential. He got Golden Boy, didn't he? Solanke. So this could be salvation for some of the Liverpool players that really have been squad players and deserve to be Premier League players.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting comment from Louis here. Get all your comments in the comment section. What are your thoughts on Nat Phillips potentially going to Bournemouth? Be interested to see how Nat does without Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Keita in front of him. That's probably the concern of other Premier League clubs. Do you think that's a valid point, mate?
No. I mean, Fabinho in front of him, yeah, towards the end of the season, he had that defensive cover, but it's when that really sort of gave us that defensive ability was the first the near post headers. His skill, his defense. It doesn't really matter what's in front of him. He's never going to be really one-on-one dribbling. So I think it'd be interesting to see what happens when you've got people like Trent and Robbo giving him crosses, but he's got to get Bournemouth up first. Trying to defend against those. This is Championship defending. They tend to be looped in. Tends to be a fight. It's exactly what Phillips does. Now, whether he can clear it well enough to a midfielder to get Bournemouth on the counter-attack, that's a different question. But I don't think having those three in front of him makes any difference to his game, really.
100%. I mean, this is an important thing from Dan. Take us to 2,500 subs. That's what we want. We want to get everyone into the family. We've got a video up on Kunku this morning. Obviously, that's not breaking news. We're not actually officially going to sign him, but he would be an excellent addition in the summer. And this is just a breaking news stream. Nat Phillips set to join Bournemouth on loan with a fee at the end of the season. There's no optional fee or mandatory fee at the end of the season, so he will be returning to Liverpool, but it's more of a shop window thing, I think, James. I'm not going to lie. I think putting him in the shop window ready for potential suitors in the summer.
Yeah, it's the story, isn't it? Well, Nat Phillips got us up. Nat Phillips got Bournemouth promoted to the Premier League. That's how good he is. Not only did he get Liverpool Champions League, he got Bournemouth promoted. If you really want him, pay the money.
He's still got a long-term contract at Liverpool as well. I think it was very, very
signed
smart.
It, didn't he? End of season, didn't he? A new one.
He did. It's a very smart piece of moving from Liverpool in the summer to get Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips a new deal, because we've got a strong negotiating position now with him. He's probably one of our most sellable assets, and the fact that he's signed the dotted line means that Liverpool have years to play with, and to put him in the shop window to make sure they maximise his value.
Yeah, and it feels for me very much like Harry Wilson. I really wanted Harry Wilson to do well. He got 23 goals in like 25 games in the under-23s. And I was like, yeah, I really want him to do well. And he went on loan to a few places. He did really well on loan. Still couldn't quite get to the Liverpool level, which is fine. You've got to remember we're a top 1% club in world football. And now he's at Fulham and he's having a great time. And I'm happy because he's come through our academy and he's been exceptional. And I think Nat Phillips is similar. I don't think he's ever going to be Liverpool quality. I think it's the wrong era for him. He reminds me of Jamie Carragher. He's not a football. He's just a defender. And now you need ball players and this and that. And, you think about Matty, you think about Van Dijk, and that is not your Carragher era. But Nat Phillips, that's what he reminds me of every time. It's blood, sweat, tears. I will defend that ball. I might not be able to do 2 kick-ups, but I can kick it clear. Have it. That's what Nat Phillips is. Apart from that one turn. That one turn was...
The Cruyff turn against Lampard put him on his ass. No, the thing is, I think you make a very, very good point with Nat. If he was in an era 20 years ago, he's a top-level Premier League centre-back, in my opinion. He genuinely has all the defensive ability in the world, and it's definitely... it's the wrong era for Nat Phillips to be born into, unfortunately. But I tell you what, he is still a tremendous character and a great lad. On Carvalho, a couple of different things have been said about him. I think Neil Jones said that Carvalho wants to assess his options, but Liverpool are very keen to get it done, and I still think it will be done. Purely because I think if we have to pay an extra $2 million, we will. For a player, just so we don't have to pay the tribunal. We all know the arse of going through tribunal fees. I mean, we did it with Solanke. We did it with Elliott. We did it with Danny Ings. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how Carvalho does. But on that,
someone's put some more money on the table, doesn't it? Like a Dele Alli and Spurs.
Yeah.
It feels like he's had his head turned by a bit more cash, and I can honestly say if that's true, I think Klopp will just go, nah, off you go, not interested.
Maybe potentially actually,
and that's what worries me. If he's that motivated, Klopp's just going to change his mind.
Yeah, I mean, he is represented by his family with a Jorge Mendes advisory role. So it's just so basically he's represented by Jorge Mendes.
Yeah,
And
his family
he's
take a cut.
yeah, he's a good lad. But I do genuinely think Carvalho will come. It's just a matter of time, whether it's now, whether we get that loan back done. I think it will be done. I think Liverpool will be working tirelessly to get this sorted. This is absolutely right. If you aren't subscribed already, make sure you do so. We are, so close to 2,500. If you can get us there, that'd be amazing. And just to reiterate the breaking news for those of you who are here, LFC Transfer Room sources have said that Nat Phillips is already in having a medical at Bournemouth. So it will be happening today. Nat Phillips to Bournemouth will be happening today. So it's going to be, final thoughts, James. I think we've said everything we can do on it. But do you think he'll be a success at Bournemouth? Do you think he'll get them up? And therefore, do you think he'll go for a big fee in the summer?
I think it's a match made in heaven. If you've got a ball playing centre back like Gary Cahill, you need a strong defensive unit. I think Honcho and Hippier, I think, and how they work. You got your big power centre back heading it clear, and then you got your ball playing centre back. And in the Championship, it's a lot like the Premier League was. It's like 3 or 4 years behind. That's not in a bad way. It's just how it's played. And I genuinely think he's everything Bournemouth need to have that sort of final push. So yeah, it's exciting for us to see him play in because I want to watch him play. I want to see if he can develop into that centre back, and you're not going to see it at us. So great. And then if he works, big fee in the summer. Dice ball, I think someone said.
Dice ball, yeah. Honestly, Burnley would be a great place. I'm very surprised Burnley didn't come in for him. I'm very surprised that Brighton. I mean, we did an original thumbnail for the stream at 5 p.m. We've got a stream. Myself, Chedu will be there, and a couple of others. James, are you available at 5 p.m. potentially?
I think I'm signed up for whatever we can. It's deadline day, isn't it? So
it is. Everything's going crazy. But I did Photoshop Nat into a Brighton kit because I thought he potentially might go there.
It's not Brighton. Really?
But only because of Dan Burn going to Newcastle, I thought it'd be a match for them, just to panic buy really. But it looks like it's going to be Bournemouth. I think it should be good. So yeah, we've got a video on that. We're gonna cover all the outgoings at 5 p.m. If there's any news, if there's any breaking news, we will be going live straight away as soon as we know stuff. We've got a 10 p.m. Can we Photoshop Louis on Natalie Sawyer? That can be arranged.
Yep.
But the two transfer vids tonight. So we've got 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. We've got Jack taking you in.
Is he going to be suited and booted, yellow tie and everything? Because that's what
I photoshopped him into that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's what I want.
That's what we'd absolutely love.
Smooth tones in a yellow tie going, breaking news. I've got a text.
Hey guys, breaking news. This is actually this is a myth. Fulham do not have a bad relationship with Liverpool just because of the Harvey Elliott thing. Liverpool actually helped out Fulham this season by loaning them Harry Wilson and making it an obligational fee. Because Fulham were going through hard financial fair play situations, Liverpool actually helped them. So there is no bad taste between the two clubs. This is purely Carvalho rather than just Fulham and Liverpool. Really, I still think it will happen. Whether it's now, whether it's in the summer, Liverpool will work to get this done. This is a great comment from Ayush. Bolton Baresi, bless him.
I'm right.
I'll tell you what, he suits the kit though. He suits the kit, to be fair. I love it.
I think we're building relationships with these clubs, like trying to get it done before tribunal, that sours the relationship. We helped them out with Harry Wilson. We helped Porto out with money before Luis Diaz came. I think we sent them 8 million to pay off so we're trying to build these positive relationships with this club. This is, I think, the progression that we've made as opposed to we are Liverpool things. We're going to build great relationships and we're going to have clubs promote choosing us over X, Y, and Z. It's a good place to be in as opposed to being hated by everyone.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to get your thoughts on another bit of news that came out today. James, Frank Lampard has been appointed Everton manager. I genuinely, when they were going to appoint Pereira, I was going to laugh my head off because he is a man who, honestly,
he's moved around so much, hasn't he?
I know, it's ridiculous, but they've got Lampard now. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's a better appointment or not?
I think everyone's going to be Lampard, Gerrard, Aston Villa, Everton, because they're both similar level clubs. It's going to be a constant comparison. I know that Lampard's got Jody Morris in his backroom team, and Jody Morris has been essential, hasn't he, in that Chelsea youth development squad that made, all of them that went all over world football. They were huge, that Chelsea development squad. So you've always got to have a bit of, okay, well, the people behind Frank Lampard are top notch and they've achieved a lot. So it'll probably be more successful than we want it to be. Will it beat Liverpool? No, because it's Everton. It obviously won't. It'll be the 7th place trophy, them against Villa. It's a good appointment. I don't think it's a scary appointment for us.
No, I think it's the best appointment they made in years, if I'm being honest with you. In managers like Ancelotti, you have a manager who does not want to be there at the end of the day, and he proved that when he jumped at the first chance. You've also got Rafa, who unfortunately, and I think is an unpopular opinion, he's not what he was. At the same time, they didn't support him properly either. Marco Silva was out of his depth. There's Ronald Koeman was out of his depth as well, I think. There's a lot of stuff going on. But back to the topic at hand. This is a comment from Ayush. Very surprised West Ham and Burnley didn't come in for Phillips. What do you guys think if Neco moves into the summer? Taki is a strange one. We'll start with West Ham and Burnley. We've covered that a little bit. I mean, West Ham, they have a little bit of a centre back depth problem, James. Do you think that they could have potentially gone in for Phillips, or is Bournemouth the right level?
Bournemouth's the right level because he's got 6 months of Premier League experience in a crisis. He hasn't proven that he is, he hasn't really. His stats were better than Diaz, who got Player of the Year for half a season, but that doesn't prove he's, a top defender in the Premier League. He needs more experience and more exposure. He had that rocky run at Stuttgart. So, I think he just needs to play at a lower level, and then I think he'll secure a Premier League club. I think West Ham think that they play the ball out from the back too much and didn't want Nat Phillips, would be my guess.
Yeah. On Neco, I mean, as we mentioned, Bournemouth do have an interest in him, but again, my source at Bournemouth has said that it's mostly Liverpool trying to offload him rather than Bournemouth going to take him. They don't really need a fullback. So I don't know. I've always envisaged the Premier League. I genuinely think he's got so much talent.
Yeah, he's a little bit predictable though, isn't he? He comes inside, he does that little shimmy inside, or he tries, and then he does the skiddy whip cross. It's not. It's a good backup, but he wants to be playing for Wales. He wants to play international football. He wants to be first team choice. You can't discredit anyone for wanting that. It'd be ideal backup, but he don't want to sit on the bench. And Trent is, thankfully, fingers crossed, pretty resilient.
Exactly. And I think with Neco, I think it's probably the worst time he could. Again, we mentioned about Nat Phillips coming through at a bad time. Neco's come through at a bad time as well, because he was just. If he came through 7 years ago, I think he's our starting right back for years to come. Like that. That's how highly I particularly rate him. But unfortunately, he's come through in an era where Trent Alexander-Arnold.
You see, I completely think you're wrong. I'm sorry, Kris.
It's fine, mate. It's fine. The world's about opinions, isn't it?
Because if you look at the world of right backs at the moment, everyone wants to compare theirs to Liverpool's. But I'm thinking about who Liverpool would go after if there was no Trent. Tariq Lamptey is number one on my list because I think he's an outstanding footballer. I would love him at our club, but we just don't need him. And then, you got your Reece James, you got your Aaron Wan-Bissaka who are available, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's a whole raft of, not, I would say, good centre-backs. And then you've got a couple of world-class. I'd say Reece James is getting there. And you've got your Trents. If Trent didn't exist, is Neco really ever going to get into that mix, regardless of who he plays for? I don't think so.
I agree now, but I think if he gets the minutes that he could have got if Trent didn't exist, then it's all a conceptual situation. But
Max
I do.
Aarons, that is a cracking shout. Sorry.
Right, I'm gonna say this as a conspiracy. Right, has Max Aarons ever had a good game in the Premier League? I don't think he has. In every single game I've watched him play for Norwich City, he's not been very good. So I don't know what the hype is. I don't understand the hype. I'd rather Neco, to be honest. But we move. And finally, on the final point that Ayush put forward, Minamino. I mean, there was rumours yesterday that he was potentially going to Leeds United, but Fabrizio Romano said that is not going to happen. He apparently wants to stay at Liverpool and fight for his place, which is, I mean, ambitious to say the least, James.
It is, but he's scored a lot of goals this season. He scored a decent amount of goals for the player that he is. He knows his place. He's comfortable with his place. I think he got us a 95th minute winner in a game.
The equaliser against Leicester.
Yeah. So if someone knows where they sit in the pecking order and they're comfortable with it and they're prepared to give everything, because let's face it, he works his socks off. We need players like that. You need players that are not going to throw the toys out the pram if they're not playing every week. So if he wants to be that, I think he's good enough to play that type of role for us. So absolutely fine with it. I'm comfortable if he wants to stay. It's not like I think he needs to get out. Whereas I think Origi, he's only played 2 games for us, or 45 minutes for us and scored 2 goals. So that's 4 goals per 90 minutes. But I think it's probably his time. But I think he wants a payday.
Yeah. I think Origi has more. He's more likely to go purely because of the contract situation he's in. He's only got 6 months left. Minamino has got, I think, 24 months left on his contract. So he's got 2.5 years, I think, left. So he's look. I think Taki's got more. I think he can offer more than Origi can, and I know that's a bit disrespectful to a man who scored in the Champions League final. But I think in a general sense, Minamino is probably a better option.
It's the way you'd implement him is if you wanted someone to press from the front and people were tired and you needed to make a change. Taki's played midfield, he's played up front, he's played pretty much every position, apart from any of the defenders. So if he wants to be there and he wants to work and he wants to come on at clutch moments and, do the press from the front and set things up and run the traps, I'm all right with it. And like Ayush says, he doesn't have the physical attributes. He's not breaking things. And I do think Kay Gordon might get ahead of him. Elliott's already ahead of him. But he's there. He wants to be there. He's giving his all.
He's not on a lot of money.
No.
Like the guy, I think he's a decent little player. But look, if we got 15 million plus, see you later. Ta-ra.
Yeah.
Go on.
You can go.
There's no point in trying to force our hand,
There's no need to, is there? We can wait till the summer.
Yeah.
And just have him. It's better to have someone that is of international quality, which Taki is, because granted it's Japan, but still.
Yeah.
But it's better to have a harder person to play against in warm-up matches, training, and everything like that than it is to play against a kid that you can humiliate. If anything, it will help our better players playing against someone that's trying. So keep him. Whereas Origi is known to be relaxed, chilled out, practically vertical, doesn't turn up on time, forgets his passport every now and then. Nice guy, but just so laid back he's vertical. So Taki's not like that.
No, definitely not. I think that's a good place to end the stream, though. Just to reiterate, the main topic of the stream, Nat Phillips is currently having a medical at Bournemouth. The deal will be announced, subject to obviously that. There will be a fee for the loan, but there's no optional future fee or mandatory fee at the end of the season. It'll just be 6 months of work experience for Nat at Bournemouth, so that's great. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Like the video. We've got so much content, probably at least 2 more streams today, maybe
notifications more on, because if something happens, we're going live.
Exactly, that's what's happening. Exactly, as you mentioned, turn those notification bells on. That's what we have to do, and we will see you very, very soon. See you later. Bye bye.